While I was in school, we weren't allowed to work. We didn't have working papers at the time. But there was a man who had a factory where he made undershirts, men's undershirts. And he came to the school and employed some of the girls. And my job was to cut the loose ends of the threads when it came out of the machine. Mm-hmm. And so I had calluses on my hand, and over the weekend I visited a friend, and there was a young man who was a relative of my friend. They introduced us, and he looked at my hands and he says, "Why are your hands full of calluses?" And I told him what I was doing. He says, "Do you want to come and work for me? We already had a shop." He came here in December of 45, I believe. And he worked for his brother, and then he opened a shop on Columbus Avenue in Manhattan. And I learned to work for him after school. But then, when school finished for the summer, I worked for him all through the day. Well, the whole romance took place in the store. We fell in love, and he asked me to marry him, and we set a date, and we worked on trying to get my mother and my sister to the United States. We approached several different avenues, but couldn't accomplish anything because they wouldn't. It's not that they wouldn't let her come in here, they didn't let them out. Czechoslovakia did not let people out of the country, no matter what the circumstances. And so I told my then boyfriend, or my fiance, I'm not going to get married without my mother. Mm-hmm. And so we corresponded with my mother, and she saw that it was an impossibility to get out. And so I get a telegram from her, "Get married." Still have the telegram. And so...
So when were you and Stanley married?
In 1949, mm-hmm. June 1949. Mm-hmm. We lived in Manhattan in a brownstone in the basement. Mm-hmm. But then when I found out that I was going to have a baby, we passed by this area, we had a car by the time, and there was a big sign, "Apartment for rent." And so we looked at it, liked what we saw, were able to afford to pay the rent of $93.50 for a one-bedroom apartment. And we decided to move. This was in 1951. This was, I believe it was in March, and my daughter was born in October.
So how many children do you have?
We have 2 daughters. Our older daughter, Ricky, and she went to school, and college and university, and she became a music therapist. And our younger daughter, Melanie, was at Binghamton. In the second year of college, she saw a young man, and she told her best friend, "He's the one who I'm going to marry," and she did. And so she has 2 boys. One of them went to Binghamton and finished college. The other one is in Buffalo.
So you have, but Ricky has...
an adopted little girl from China, who's our pride and joy. She's very, very cute, very smart, and very loving. Mm-hmm. Really, it's very affectionate.